So what is it that makes a mathematical proof beautiful? Is it just some aha moment that only mathematicians get, or is it something deeper? Well, today we're going to dig into the very soul of mathematics because it's facing a brand new challenger, artificial intelligence. All right, let's get into it. To really get a handle on this, we've got to talk about the legendary Cambridge mathematician G.H. Hardy. See, for Hardy, beauty wasn't just some nice-to-have bonus in math. It was the first test. He believed a proof should hit you with the same power as a great poem or a beautiful painting. Ugly math, he said, just wasn't built to last. And right there, that's the core tension we're looking at today. For centuries, humans have been on this quest for elegance, for beauty in their proofs. But then you have AI, and its mission? Totally different. It's all about a relentless, single-minded search for absolute, verifiable truth, no matter how ugly or messy the path to get there is. All right, so let's set the stage here by looking at the key players who represent these two, let's call them philosophies. So in one corner, you've got Hardy, the traditionalist, and then in the other corner, you've got modern mathematicians like Kevin Buzzard. Now, after getting burned by some flawed proofs made by humans, his mission is to get computers involved. And he's not mincing words. He just says, I reject beauty, I want rigor. So who's right here? To really get what makes a proof beautiful, sometimes the best way in is to look at what is definitely not beautiful. Okay, let's take a classic example, the map coloring problem. The question seems pretty straightforward, right? What's the fewest colors you need to color any map so that no two countries that share a border have the same color? Turns out, the answer is 4. But the proof of that? Oh, that's where it gets really interesting. So one way to tackle this, and this is totally how a computer would think about it, is just brute force. You literally list every single possible way to color the map and then check each one by one. It's what mathematicians call plotting in pedestrian. Yeah, it gets you the right answer, but it has zero style. And this right here is the whole point. A proof like that is 100% correct, it's true. But you won't find a single mathematician, living or dead, who would look at that and smile. It gives you no new perspective, no flash of insight. It completely fails the beauty test. Okay, so if brute force is ugly, then what's beautiful? Well, that brings us to the first pillar of mathematical beauty, simplicity. There was this incredible mathematician, Paul Erdős, and he had this amazing way of thinking about it. He imagined this divine book, he called it the book, that was kept by God. And in this book was the single most perfect, elegant, and beautiful proof for every single theorem. So for him, the real goal of a mathematician isn't just to find any proof. It's to find the one proof that's so perfect it belongs in the book. But listen, when we say simplicity in math, we don't just mean easy. A better way to think about it is like poetry. A great poem can use just a few simple words in a tight structure to give you this incredibly deep and complex feeling. A simple proof does the exact same thing. It uses a few clever steps to reveal a huge idea with total clarity. And there is no better example of this kind of mind-blowing simplicity than Bertrand Russell's famous paradox. Okay, first things first, a super quick definition. A set is just a collection of things. So you could have the set of all cats. Now think about it. The collection of all cats is not itself a cat, so it doesn't contain itself, right? Most sets you can think of work just like that. All right, so with that idea in your head, Russell comes along and imagines this really special set. Let's call it R. And R is defined as the set of all the sets that do not contain themselves. So the set of cats, it would be an R. The set of dogs, also an R. Simple enough. And now for the big brain-twisting question. What about R itself? Is it a member of its own club? Does the set R contain itself? And this is where we get stuck in this perfect, inescapable trap. Think it through with me. If R contains itself, well, it breaks its own rule. The rule says it's only for sets that don't contain themselves, so that can't work. But if R does not contain itself, then it fits the criteria to be in R, which means it must contain itself. It's a complete contradiction. And just like that, with a few simple lines of logic, we see the incredible power of simplicity. The only possible conclusion is that a set like R just can't exist. This elegant little argument revealed a massive crack in the foundations of logic that everyone was using, and it absolutely rocked the world of mathematics.
But simplicity comes in different flavors. Russell's paradox is great because it has a simple statement and a simple proof. But compare that to something like Fermat's last theorem. The statement is so simple a kid could understand it. The proof? It's hundreds of pages of ridiculously complex modern math. Both are considered beautiful, which just shows you that simplicity can be in the idea, the proof, or sometimes both.
All right, let's move on to our second pillar of mathematical beauty. And this one kind of builds on simplicity. It's the element of surprise. Surprise is that whoa moment, when a proof just completely blows past your expectations. It's when a mathematician is trying to prove something about numbers and suddenly borrows a genius idea from geometry, or they see a connection to physics that nobody ever saw before. It's all about looking at an old problem with a completely fresh, original eye. And this quality, this element of surprise, mathematicians have a great word for it: vitality. It's that human spark of originality. It's that ability to see a problem with a fresh eye, not weighed down by how everyone has always done it. A proof that has vitality feels alive. It gets people excited and opens up entire new worlds of math to explore. And all of this, simplicity, surprise, vitality, it brings us right back to where we started, the question of AI. So here are the big questions we have to ask. Can a proof generated by an AI ever be truly simple, in that profound, poetic way? Can it surprise us with a connection we never imagined? And maybe the biggest question of all, can a machine have vitality? And on these questions, the jury is very much still out. As AI gets more and more powerful, the math community has to figure out what it's really searching for. Is the end goal just truth, pure and simple, rigorous and verifiable? Or is it the search for those beautiful, simple, and surprising structures that feel like they came straight out of the book? That's the question that's going to guide mathematics for years to come.